We're live.
Hey!
Welcome, Cathy.
Thanks.
Welcome to nobody at the moment, but hopefully some people who are checking this out and listening live, and some people listening later.
You're Marcos
So welcome
Maximus,
to the Flapping Fish. Number 13. Yeah. So how are you doing, Cathy?
I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Today has been a bit hectic, and I haven't really enjoyed my homeschooling experience today, my home educating.
No.
I've just had my head exploded by trying to get, I've got 2 at secondary and 1 at primary, so the primary stuff feels like a bit of a doddle now. I'm in that, I've got it. But the secondary stuff, they're still throwing new platforms at us, or new apps that we have to get on for the kids to complete work, and I'm just like, it doesn't do it. And you try and get it on one computer and it just doesn't do it, and then I try to get it on a phone. So, you know, before you know it, you've got like a 12-year-old in tears because he's frustrated with the technology, and then you've got to calm them down to start the work again. It's just like, I've had enough today. So it's one of them days, but it's absolutely beautiful outside.
I know. We're in here doing this. A bit silly, isn't it?
That's right. I did a run this morning though, so that was nice. Good.
Yeah, I've been. I don't know if what guys are doing for church-wise, but we've been pre-recording worship and stuff like that. Have you been doing anything like that?
Well, I'm sort of part of the team, so I'm not part of the sort of organising tier of the team. But because we live here in the studio and we've got the piano there, and actually I should just swing it around. Well, there's not much to see at the moment, but there's usually a few more lights and mics and what do you call them? Cameras. So I've just recorded stuff, sort of more reflective stuff here. And this week I'm going to work with my mate Brady, because he's an amazing jazz piano player. Because I just play and sing on the piano and lead worship in quite a generic sort of worship way. But I think Brady's going to bring some, bit of uniqueness to it, which would be beautiful. But a lot of the church team are now able to meet down at church, and they're starting to record a live set of 3 songs, I think. And then that will be broadcast on the Sunday. So they're doing that on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Do it on the Sunday. But I sort of thought I can't do all of it.
No. I've really enjoyed your late night streams that you've been doing every now and again.
Oh, thanks.
It's been really cool. In fact, I really loved the one I loved the most. Obviously, the one you did, Sam, was the best. But
with all the wrong words.
I loved was when you were playing. You were just doing it on your phone, I think, and you were on the piano and you did "Speed Your Love."
Oh yeah.
And it was absolutely beautiful. It was just like a magic special moment. And yeah, it was so cool. So thanks for doing all that. It's been really, I know that it's been helping people and touching people's lives. And it is just such a flipping crazy time at the moment, isn't it?
Well, they were kind of slightly inspired by your Peace in the Storms, really, because you started off doing them. And they were like at a time in the night where, I don't know, that would be a time for me in the very early days of the lockdown, sort of around 4:30 onwards to about 6. It's a bit like when you have a baby, there's that witching hour. And every day, about 4:30 to 6-ish, I'd feel really unstable in myself and really unsettled. So if I was to tune into one of your ones, I'd be like, oh, it's all right. Here we are. Okay. It's okay. Here we go again.
Yeah.
And, they were really cool. And then like one night I just thought, I've got like, I'm not a teacher. I'm a piano teacher, but that's not really, doesn't count for much in the grand scheme of keeping the country going. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. I can't do ITU. I just thought, oh, what have I got? And I was literally just going, what does my life amount to? And then I just thought, all I can do is sing. And I thought, okay, I'll do that tonight then. So I just, flicked on and went, right, I'm singing this song because that's all I can do. And that was that. So I just kept going.
Yeah, I had like a really strong moment one night where I got really, really emotional, really tearful over everything that was going on. And I was just kind of, the emotion was that I couldn't help, you know, I couldn't do anything. It was like, had to just stay in. You're helping by staying in. And it's, in one way, that's a really easy thing to do, but I just got really upset. I was just like, I want to be able to do something.
Yeah. But you are there, I think.
Yeah, we are. And it isn't that classic though, that we just go, oh, I can only sing, you know. Like, it's not really important.
I know.
But think how important music has been in your life.
I know, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You know, there've been pivotal moments that have been led by music, and you just take it for granted, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Do you feel like it's a bit of a shock when people like your music?
Well, yeah, because especially I've got this bit of a downer on myself. Like when I start a new feed every night, I think, does anybody really want to hear this? I'm kind of squawking. Like sometimes if I'm doing a loud one, I've got some sort of like constructive criticisms in the back of my head, like, oh, so-and-so only likes it when you sing softly. And then you just got all this like background noise. I'm just thinking, is this really worth bringing out? Does anybody want to watch it? But then, you know, if people have looked at it, you just think, it just shocks me, because I think, oh yeah, some people do. Whether they're just there going, laughing at me, or whether they're just taking it and going, it's lovely, whatever really. But it's just having it's almost like a persistence and an obedience just to keep doing it. Yeah. And actually I've really grown through it, like gigging every night. I wouldn't dream of been doing that. Like if you said that to me in January, you're going to be doing gigs every night, I'll be like, no, I won't, I haven't got time for that.
Yeah.
So for people to actually come along and tune in and then watch it afterwards, that's what always amazes me as well. You just think, what? And some of the viewings on it is just, you know, it's crazy.
And
for me.
Yeah, it's weird. It was really cool for me because I've always, I do try and embarrass everyone who comes on here a bit, but I've always loved your music, and I've always loved you as a songwriter. I just think you've got something really special. And I think I can remember seeing you play as, was it Bluesbury? No, Blueberry.
Bluesbury was you.
Bluesbury was something else.
That was a whole new conversation.
Yeah.
No, I was.
I can remember seeing you, I think at Greenbelt was the first time, and Paul was on guitar and Paul Evans on drums.
Yeah. Danny Boreham.
Dan Boreham on lead guitar.
Yeah.
And who was your bass player? Mof, yeah.
John Mofel, yeah.
And it's just like a really good band. You know, just it's like I'm a new Christian into all kinds of different music, and then it's like you guys popped up on stage 2 at Greenbelt, and I was like, hang on a minute, these guys are really good. This is, you know, these are good songs, and these guys.
That might have been our first Greenbelt gig. Was it a stage like a bit of a dome?
It was pretty cool. It was when stage 2 was cool. It was in the old venue, you know, yeah. It was like stage 2 was really good.
I do remember, yeah, because I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, stage 2 would have been, and then stage 1 was like in a big sort of amphitheatre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
My brother did spotlights one year from the big turrets at the back, but he was a bit clumsy. But yeah, no, that would have been our first. I think that was one amongst our first gigs, even. We just started going.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's an amazing thing, and it's then we did a gig together in London somewhere.
Yeah.
In
showcase gigs.
No, we did a gig with Dust and Blueberry.
Was that with JJ?
With JJ, yeah. And that was when we sort of met you guys, and Jimmy met Paul and was just was talking studios and all that, And then that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Jimmy was here the other day. He lives up the road from us now. How cool is that?
I know.
Yeah. I teach his kids piano. Well, I teach one. One of them gave up for a little while. But...
Good job.
Yeah, it's my fault.
No such thing as a bad student, Kath.
I know. Believe me.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So amazing. So what I was going to say, apart from that, was just it was great to see you doing stuff again in a performance way.
Yeah.
And just, it's like, yeah, you're an amazing artist, and I think sometimes in our lives we can get, we're parents, or we're this or that, or I'm a piano teacher now, I'm this, but it's like you're a songwriter, and you're quite unique in our little world of Christian UK, sort of Christian
UK. And I feel like perhaps it's been an opportunity to actually start gigging again, because anything goes in this season, and like everybody's used to sort of like seeing Christian music as worship, congregational join in kind of music. If the words aren't on the screen, then what do we do? Kind of music in my head, like the majority of, like, even like, because I sort of stopped gigging a little while ago, and like one of the last gigs I did in a church was like, where are your words? And I was like, what do you mean? She went, where are the words for the projection so we can sing along? I'm like, no, it's a gig. She was like, yeah, but you've got to have the words. And I'm like, why? And it just dawned on me that the culture has shifted so much that people have forgotten that you can have a gig in a church, you can talk about God in amazing ways that you can't talk about God in a worship song. That is something that everybody has to sing. Because the parameters for a worship song are so different to just singing about your relationship with God, or about your faith, or about your doubt, or all those things that make you who you are in your faith. And it's been weird, because some nights I've just done, because not all my songs are about, not all of them are about God, but some of them are and some of them aren't. And then you realise not everybody who's watching is a believer, and I was thinking, I'll just talk about it anyway. Don't matter, does it? It's just it all mixes into who I am as an artist. So yeah, it's been nice to be able to be free. It's a bit of freedom, and I haven't done it as part of my church, because I just did it anyway. I just thought, I'm just going to crack on and do it. It's only me and a little iPhone, and then Paul got involved. But, I think at the end of the day, we've just got to give what you've got, like you said earlier. And it's like, we can sing and play and write, so contribute, and then it's quite nice because at some point it will fit somewhere when church goes out back to normal. Yeah, but it might not. This,
It may not. Yeah. No.
Who knows?
Who knows? And do you with that thing, because I have this thing as well where I love what happens when we worship, as church or people in a room, and obviously there's sort of frustrations around that as well. But I also know that doesn't, although that can be really powerful for people who are unbelievers, it doesn't necessarily, the language of it doesn't necessarily make any sense whatsoever.
No, I'd agree with that.
So if you sort of go, well, you can say something that's true, but it's in another language. So you could say, there is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's veins. That's good. That's good in a heavy metal song, but like, it's an amazing. Those hymns are amazing. I'm just going to shut this door.
Yeah. Oh, I think I can hear my washing machine. I know it's a lorry. It's funny. When you were saying that, I was thinking about that song, "Step out of the shadows, step out of the grave." When you think about, like, for somebody that's never heard a hymn, a worship song, or whatever, and that's their first introduction to the music, in church and be like, what, step out the grave? Like, what, like Thriller? Or like, I don't know. It's just, it is a bit of a different language, you know? And I'm not dissing that, because I love leading that song, and I've led it a lot in different styles as well, because it can be a cool song to sing acoustically. But anyway, I digress. But I think, yeah, there is a sort of window for non-churchy language. That's really good, isn't it? Churchy language.
Let's go back to the beginning with you, because you're not from the as I'm not. You're not from the church world, are you?
Well, it's a kind of a funny one, because I was shipped off to Sunday school as a child.
Were you?
But Mum and Dad didn't go to church. So I've always been to church on a Sunday. And I did it mainly because my parents sent me off with a lovely elderly couple from the village who they just went past our house every week, called Mr. and Mrs. Hutchins. And they just picked me up, took me to Sunday school. He ran the Sunday school. I think that's wrong, I wanted to go that way. And so I learned all the classic Bible stories as a child from the Old Testament. You know, Noah, Jonah, Joseph, the classics. I'm trying to think of more, but I can't right now. But so I've always had church in my life, but I probably didn't become a Christian until I was about 14. I wouldn't think. I kind of made some vague. It's almost like in my heart I knew God was real, and I knew Jesus was real, but I didn't really know what that meant for me at that time. And I wouldn't say I prayed as a child much, apart from at school. So we went to C.V. school. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't completely removed from church culture, but I wasn't in it at all. I was just like a visitor, pretty much until I got married and went to my first church in Littlehampton, because churches in where I grew up, there weren't any people my age in them at all. So I tried to go to my local Methodist church, and the average age was like 80. So it was and they all loved to see me there, but it was so boring. So I didn't go. But
when did your music sort of journey start, and songwriting journey? When did that happen?
Well, Mum and Dad gave me piano lessons with a local piano teacher from the age of about 5. So I just learned piano classically. And then coming up to around secondary school, I would say a guy called Pete Parrish, who used to play in bands. I think he played in bands with my uncles, but I'm not sure. That might be a tenuous thing that I've made up. But he was definitely a musician in the same scene as them. And they used to play in my uncles played saxophones in sort of dance bands, and Pete played drums. And Pete would come round to our place, and he'd be like, right, Kath, here's the 12-bar blues. It goes like this. And he didn't play the piano, but he knew that because by that age, I was about grade 6 or grade 7 on piano. So I knew about chords and harmony, and theoretically I knew a lot about music, but I had no clue anything other than classical music. So he showed me, I would have known a bit of strumming guitar actually by then, probably a little bit. Started teaching myself about 8. But he would sort of show me how songs were structured, like loads of Beatles songs and just rock and roll that he was playing. So that's where that sort of came from, musical journey-wise. And then I probably started writing. I entered a songwriting competition when I was 11. And then that was the start of songwriting from then on, because I won it. I thought, oh, I'm quite good at that.
Wow.
It's only in my school, but it was one of those things that gave me a confidence boost to think, oh, I'm not very good at maths or English or science or anything like that. I'm quite good at drama, but I can write songs, so go with that.
It's an amazing feeling when you figure out that you're good at something, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, I can actually do that. But then you have that awful doubt of like, is that any good though? So, but I know it's a skill that I've got, and the more I work on it, the better I get.
Yeah. And do you feel that? Do you feel that your writing is improving?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because as part of the lockdown over you know, the evening sessions that I've been doing, I kind of, my aim was to play my entire back catalogue. So I've literally got about 15 songs left that I haven't even looked at yet. And I've never, about 10 of them I've never gigged. They're like, they've sort of were album fillers, if I'm honest. So terrible. It's like, but it's because I was so afraid of gigging on the piano. I only started gigging on the piano in the last 5 years because I was just so intimidated by the classical mind of, you've got to get every note correct, otherwise you've screwed up. So once I've let go of myself and just thought, it doesn't matter if I get them wrong, the notes. And if I go like that in the middle of a song, it's just all part of it. It's a bit of fun. So a lot of them got shelved. I mean, Speed Your Love you're talking about, I didn't gig that at all because I was too frightened to play the piano. It's really ridiculous.
Good. So what's that about? It's weird, isn't it?
I don't know. But I think when I look back over the stuff, I think there was a season where I was really like writing a lot all the time. And you could see that the songs were like, the more practice that was going in, the more formed the songs were becoming. And I feel like the less prolific I am, the songs get a little bit half done. So if I can get into that sort of rhythm of writing more often, the songs definitely get better. But there are a few that I've written in the last couple of years that I think, yeah, that's all right. So, but some I just think, what am I writing about? But it is headspace. So it's like I can start a song one week and then I literally don't have a time to songwrite for 3 weeks. And then you go back to that idea and you just think, oh, I can't remember it. Like, how did I play it? I've like recorded it, but I can't have to work out the riff or the twiddly bit or anything. It's just so frustrating. But that's just being part of the whole person that I am in terms of family, wife, mum, educator now.
Yeah. Vera was telling me that apparently basically loads of people have just been doing nothing. And all the kids are just going to be like, yeah, we didn't do anything for 4 months.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think good on them, really.
Yeah.
I've got my knickers in a twist a few times this week, and I just think, oh, is there any point? But then, you know, my kids start feeling stressed, so they want to keep up.
Yeah,
so you've got to support them, haven't you? I don't want to, though.
I know. Yeah. There's loads of stuff on YouTube now. That's what we're realizing. To learn.
Yeah. Totally.
What like we did the gigs or the season that we played together in the Cathy Burton band.
What, with the pink hat?
Yeah. That was very much like going for it, wasn't it? Like going for
the deal.
Going for the
Oh, hello, he's still there.
Yeah.
Is that me? Oh.
We're back.
Sorry. Oh, you're back. Was it me or was it
you? You know, going for, who knows? Going for like mainstream record deal. So it was like the dream was kind of be like a Sheryl Crow or you know, something like that. Talk about that and talk about what that journey was like. And
well, I think at the time, I mean, I can look back on with hindsight now because it's really funny because Tommy J. Smith was my manager at the time, and he was brother-in-law of a really good friend of mine, Stuart Smith, and Sarah, and so there was a connection there. So and Tommy was managing Bewitched at the time. Was it? What do you like? that band? That one. And so Tommy was really for me, and he got me a publishing deal with the songs that I've been writing with a really cool publishing company called Bucks Music, which were mainstream publishers and stuff. And so they were trying to place the songs in various sort of platforms or films or TV or whatever. But the live side of it, that's where we were gigging, wasn't it? showcases and stuff like that. We did a telly one, and I was trying to think what telly channel it was. But anyway, that was all with Tony Moore and stuff in London, wasn't it? And at the time, I remember feeling just never quite good enough. And I look back, and at the time, I really, really thought the songs had it and like really good. But Tommy, literally at the beginning of lockdown, sent me a cardboard box full of all my demos that I'd done in like various little studios in London with different producers and different writers. I'd written with Dido's writer. I wrote with, Nick Van Eed, and I worked with Gus Dudgeon, who produced Elton John. He was amazing. And I worked with loads of different people. Who was it? The guy, Simple Minds' brother. So it wasn't quite Simple Minds, but the guy who was brother with the lead singer. Somebody Kerr. Mark? Don't know. Anyway, Paul would know. And so I was thrown in this bubble of like expectation of, it was the days that you could still get a recording deal and actually get an album paid and then released if it was good enough, and it was like, because that doesn't really happen now much, does it?
No.
So I got this box through at the beginning of lockdown, and I listened to all of the stuff, and me and Paul listened to it, and it was really cool to listen back, because some of the stuff I'm like, man, we worked really hard on this stuff, and it was really, we did a lot of demoing and a lot of recording. But like we were saying, there's not any hits. Like there's not quite any like hits, and I can see why it never got signed, because I didn't write a hit. That's the bottom line. If you don't write a hit, there's no way in. Yeah. But at the same time, I still had this, and I think I still have it now. I've still got this. I'm less like it. I'm much more. I don't care now. Like if I screw up a gig, like the other night, I totally tried to cover Heaven Is a Place on Earth, and in my mind, I screwed it right up. But then, if that would have been me 20 years ago, I'd probably gone to bed crying, and then thinking about it for 2 days, going, "I'm such an idiot. It's such a big deal." And I just went, like, so we said goodbye, and I was like, "Oh, what idiot, sausage fingers. Off we go to bed." Don't care, just don't care anymore. So I wish I'd had a bit more of, I don't care, and also I've got a bit more. I noticed that people that make it have got a lot more self-confidence and blag and swagger, and I haven't got any of that. I can't blag anything. It's like this whole homeschooling thing. I can't blag it that they're doing it, and I can't not follow the rules of, here's what you're supposed to do today. I'll be like, I've got to do it. So you've got to have that. You've just got to have a bit more blag and swag. And but I don't really want to change. I don't want it that badly, and I didn't want it badly then. Like I did want it, and I would love to have done it, but only if I could have been myself. And I knew, there was one meeting, it was like, oh, you've got your wedding ring on. It was like, and there was even the discussion of the fact that I've got a wedding ring on, and even the discussion of the fact that I was 21 at the time. No, I was 23, and they said, oh, you should probably say you're 21. And I'm like, I can't be. If I'm not going to be in it on my own, who I am, and with what I've got, and that's why we did it. And we didn't bother in the end. So. I didn't get a deal, obviously, but I stopped pursuing it.
Load of old nonsense.
Yeah, I think, we took control of it. We just thought, there's no point. We could go down this route a lot more. We could keep pursuing it and to keep trying, but all it's doing is making us feel rubbish, like me and Paul. And at the end of the day, Paul Evans, my drummer, his dad and mum, Alan Jan, said, look, here's 10 grand, make the album. And I was like, so I got a record deal through Evans' mum and dad. And then it was so successful on the Christian front that I made enough money in sales, which is unheard of now. Like I paid them back within the first summer. So it was great. I'm so grateful for the journey.
Yeah. That was an amazing little journey as well, sort of realizing, hang on a minute, I'm married to a producer. Let's just do anything.
Let's just make an album.
Yeah.
Because by that time I had about 20 songs kicking around, thinking they're all ready to be recorded. But got an album, got 2. But
do you know how many that sold, like physical copies, that first album?
Paul would know. I can go and ask him. I want to say like 12,000.
Yeah.
Maybe even 15. It was like double figure thousands. 12 to 15.
which is super hard to do as an independent artist. That's not easy to do.
Well, because of the physical sales, I think that's where the Delirious distribution label came in and helped me out then, and started to get it out. So because that included, no, that was after the deal probably. So I sold loads. I just sold loads at gigs, because those summers that I was gigging on the festival sort of circuit, I could sell a lot. That was nice, because you felt like, oh, don't get paid for the gigs, but at least I can like sell them, and then you're paying Jan and Al back. I was like, I've got to pay them back. I've got to pay them back.
Yeah, amazing belief, isn't it?
Yeah,
that they would just go for it like that.
Yeah, but it was amazing that Fierce were always so supportive. Yeah, and they would always kind of upfront some money so I could then start the next album.
Right. So
they were incredible support. So in a way, they were like a record company, but it was just a licensing. So here he is. It's Bertie.
No.
Uh-oh. I think, we're on air. We've been on for half an hour. You're going to say hello with your crazy hairstyle?
Greatest 80s rock late
how
90s.
Many albums we sold Burnout?
Hey, mate.
About 12,000.
About 12, that's right.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. It was, well, you wouldn't do that now. Well, I wouldn't.
No, I don't think anybody.
You what?
You've had lots of interesting doors open for you as well with the music, haven't you? So talk a little bit about your trance, is it trance stuff or dance?
Trance,
yeah.
Trance, yeah. Well, that was a spin-off from being in Hummingbirds, which was another little avenue that I explored, which was really good fun. That was with Amy Wadge and Eddie Hayes, who are two other sort of singer-songwriters. Well, they are singer-songwriters, not sort of. They're very, very talented, very successful songwriters, and they were in a trio before that one of the girls left, Rosalie Dayton, and then I filled the space. I was in my own little Bewitched.
Yeah.
How did
that open up?
I think Amy, because I knew Amy from gigging in London, doing sort of acoustic sort of gigs. It might have been Amy saying, do you want to audition to be in our band?
Cool.
I can't remember exactly who was, I think John Waller was managing me by then. So it might have been through John, or it might have been through Amy. So I went up to London and auditioned and got the gig, which also, any auditions that I've ever done, I've never really got the part, apart from Baby in Dirty Dancing when I was 15. So I was with Hummingbird for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then we disbanded. But Raz Nixan is a trance songwriter and producer in Amsterdam. He reached out through MySpace and said, would you like to come and sing on a few tracks? And I don't think I'd ever really heard of trance music. I mean, I liked electronic music. I'd always been into stuff like the Shaman. I went to see them. But I'm not a raver, I've never done drugs either. So I just went to this massive rave because I was like, easy good, yeah. I just love the music, the energy. Anyway, and KLF, I liked KLF a lot as well. Loved KLF. But anyway, so Raz got in touch with me and said, will you come out and sing? And I just felt a little bit vulnerable, I think. It's like, this guy's just, who is he? So me and my brother went to Amsterdam, and I left Paul home with the 2 kids at the time, I think it was. And I did these 4 songs, and we arrived, and it was in this place where they press the vinyl. There's only one factory like that in Holland, I think. I might be making it up. And it was like, but it's not very well used, so it's kind of quite desolate, and only 1 floor of it's used. So I went in, and it was like a movie set of like, tables turned over and like chairs with 3 legs and bits of paper screwed up on the floor. And me and my brother were like, we're in an industrial estate in a factory. It's got no lights on. And then I got to the end of this really long corridor with Raz, and I was thinking, is he going to turn around and go, wah? And he didn't. He just opened the door and it was like, oh, here's the microphone. And I was like, oh, cool. And this is Adrian. Like, he was a guy at a desk. All right. And then we had a great time, just singing and writing. And I think he just thought I would be coming in to just sing as a session singer. But then as we worked on the songs, I was like, oh, I just don't think that melody works. Can we just, intuitively, I find it hard to sing something if it just doesn't feel right, unless it's completely set in stone. And he was like, no, just do it. So we kind of did a bit of writing and a bit of collabing. And those 4 songs got released, and then one of them got picked up by Armin van Buuren, which, unbeknownst to me, was the biggest DJ in the world at the time. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So Armin's, I think it was Rain, a song called Rain. Yeah. And then that got released by Machine Gun Kelly as a remix in the States. And apparently it's a gold, but I need to get myself, you have to apply for it, don't you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Slap it on the wall.
Yeah. So it was fun. And I just kept the relationship with Raz. And I've been writing with Raz over lockdown. I'm absolutely useless at using Logic, but I am getting there.
Great.
So, and that is a case of a lot of the songs just are short, so you can get through them quite quick because you don't, I was kind of like writing verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, chorus, bridge, and you'd be like, no, that's all we need, like verse and a chorus, because they just dub it all up, and like they don't need a lot in that kind of genre to make a cool track.
All right, so what do you getting a bit of an echo here. What when you're there and when you're making trance music, is that a worshipful thing for you?
Say that again. When I'm where?
When you're making your trance music.
Oh right, yeah.
How does your faith influence that? Because it's not really, although it's spiritual music, it's not like, if you think about your Methodist church, Sunday school stuff and blah, blah, blah. What are you feeling when you're writing that stuff? What are you thinking about?
Well, a lot of the stuff of late has been based on Psalms. So, a lot of the language, I don't know where it's from, the wide open space, you bring me into a wide open space. Like I've written a trance song about that. And like, because you what?
Psalm 16.
Yeah. And so just the language of some of the Psalms is so trance friendly that I use them as inspiration for the lyric. I know that sounds silly. But the other thing is that Raz grew up in Israel. And so when I said, and he knows my beliefs, and he knows I'm a Christian, and he loves the worship stuff. He's like, I love oceans. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, those Hillsong people are brilliant. And I'm like, yeah, they are. Yeah. But he loves the kind of symbolism of Christian music, lyric that is understandable, I think. I mean, I'm speaking for him, but I'm sure he can speak for himself. But we've discussed the whole use of like the light and the shade and the contrast. That some of the songs really, if I'm in that vibe, just to go with that. And Raz has been like, yeah, let's do it. And he's been able to like explain some words in some of the Psalms to me, because he'll be able to remember it from a original text kind of perspective, because, so that's cool. Some of them are just love songs though. Some of them about breakups. The one that I've just written, it's kind of a bit sort of domestic violence in lockdown is the topic of the trance song. So it's like, but there's always an opportunity to kind of make a trance thing that's super spiritual, because it is kind of spiritual music, I think. I know it sounds a bit like contrived, but it takes you somewhere, which is why it's called trance.
Yeah.
You kind of enter into it.
Yeah.
And if you've got some really beautiful and all biblical lyrics, I love it. I love singing it.
Well, there are actual trances that you can go into that are good, that are from God.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept, because I think we would think of that word trance as something, maybe in the church it's seen as something a bit like, oh, you know,
Oh yeah.
those guys are. It was almost like you fell into a trance, and then it's like you read,
Hypnotized.
I was on the Lord's day and I fell into a trance. You know, it's like there. What was he listening to? But there are places you can go spiritually. I think that I have a neighbour here who does. It's not trance music, but it's electronic music.
Yeah.
And we've had amazing chats about what happens in those clubs in certain moments. And they'll like gospel music, like old gospel records, mixed in to sort of modern stuff. And basically talking about some kind of worshipful experience that comes over the people. So yeah, I think there's lots of things that God is involved with, which are beyond the borders of what we see as church, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's great that you're in that scene in a little way. You got a toe in there anyway.
I don't know what. Yeah, sometimes I just think, am I still in it? But there is an essence as well that when I was younger, a guy called Pete Horn gave me a prophetic word over my voice. And he said, oh, you're like the Pied Piper, but in a good way. It's like when you sing, people will listen. And he didn't, you know, I just remember him saying to me, like, you're going to be able to, you know, a room will stop to listen to your voice. And I thought, oh, that's just a bit egotistical. But I kind of, when you listen to something like that through why somebody would say it to you, it's because God wants to do something and bring healing through what you've got as a gift. You stop getting so caught up in yourself in it. You just think, okay, well, in that case, if I sing, God, if you're going to heal somebody, if that's like a mental heart thing or just even physical. I've never heard of that happening in any of my gigs, by the way, but I've had a lot of testimony of people saying, your album was what I listened to pull me through this, and it's brought so much healing. And you just think, you know, Peter said that thing about my voice being able to bring healing and bring peace and comfort. And that the other part of the prophecy that he gave to me was about people will listen. And I was like, you know, it's funny the trance thing comes along because, like, you know, I get lots of feedback as well from people I'm never going to meet, just saying, you know, voice of the angels. And I'm like, well, maybe the angels are ministering to people when people are hearing the music. And I don't want to be, it's not me saying that because I'm so amazing, but I trust in the gift that if I've got to trust in something, so I'll trust that God's given me something that if I use it, he'll use it. Whereas if I keep my mouth shut, nothing can happen with that specific gift because nobody else has got it. We've all got our own gifts. So, and then I know that upsets some people because they go, I don't know what my gift is. But sometimes I don't think it's that cryptic. It's just, you might just be the gift by being who you are to somebody else and staying true to yourself. So, but yeah, no, it's a funny one because you don't want to sound like a big head. But at the same time, if that's true, you better not waste it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can have like a false humility, can't you? That sort of, or an insecurity maybe that you can hide behind, as one can hide behind a bit.
Yeah.
It's easier. I mean, I feel sometimes, you know, anxiety sort of going, not anxiety as such, but nerves, you know, or like driving to a gig that I'm doing on my own, some random place where I know nobody knows me, nobody knows my songs, nobody knows my music. I'm just going to go and do it. And I'm thinking, I don't really want to do this, you know, like I don't really want to do this. And I'm there, I set my PA, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like a couple of songs in, or at some point something starts to happen where you know, like you're supposed to be there, and it's affecting people, and you can see a look come over people in certain moments. And then it's like, I think we do need to keep doing what we're doing, you know. And there's a power in creativity. And I think where, you know, it's like you were told at 23, no, you should say you're 21. So, and I was told, I think I was 27 or 28, and they said, no, you're 23 at the most. You know, same kind of thing. But obviously I'm a guy, so I can be a bit older. You're a woman, so you have to be 21.
Yeah.
I can get away with being 24, 25. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, so I'm 45. I don't know how old you are. I wouldn't ask a lady.
I think you were born 75, weren't you?
Mm.
Yeah, we're the same. I'm not 45 yet.
No, I'm old.
But
Like, I'm still going, and I'm like, I'm still getting better at what I do. Like the things I can do now that I couldn't do when I was 19. Do you know what I mean? Or
is that because of like expertise, or is that confidence?
Well, it's a bit of both. I'm definitely way more confident than I used to be. I was talking to a mate the other day about this. In my 20s, I was super insecure, but it was all very hidden. So even like doing stuff when I was playing with you guys, I would be like, you know, racked with all kinds of mad stuff going on in my head, you know.
I think we all were.
Showcases and not like I was chatting to this guy, was like, you seemed really laid back and like cool, and you know, and I was like, no.
Yeah, you did. Oh,
going on, but it's like you're not ready in a way for any kind of exposure at that age. And imagine where you see the disastrous things that happen to people when they get thrust onto a massive stage, and imagine being that insecure and like having to get up in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah.
You can see that you would quite quickly hit the, you know, sink a couple of whiskeys before you go on, or do you know what I mean? You see how those things happen quite easily.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I think you probably realised, I can see, and you've sort of realised that the beauty in it all is to make the art, you know, it's to make the songs and the music and to do the performances and kind of let the other stuff. You're not doing it to get somewhere, you're just doing it out of who you are, and that's healthy, you know.
Yeah, definitely now more so, you know, because there's not a lot to be got out of sitting in front of a camera every night for two songs, apart from community and a shared experience with the people that graciously sign in. Then you just think, no, we've shared some time, and I've got this ready for you. It's like giving a little gift, and that's a blessing, isn't it, to the giver as much as it is to the receiver. I think more for me.
Yeah, you definitely receive something, don't you, as a performer, like when you get that sort of feedback.
Yeah.
I was watching, do you know, you must know Garth Brooks, is it Garth Brooks? The country singer.
Yeah.
He was like the biggest selling dude in the 90s. Like, went to #1 against all the odds, you know, doing like country and western, knocked Metallica off the top spot and Michael Jackson and all this. But there's a documentary on Netflix at the moment about him, which is pretty interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really. I was watching it the other night, and I was going to say now. He said, as a performer, like you have to realize you don't belong to yourself; you belong to the people.
Oh.
And I thought, whoa, that's something. I mean, that's different than being an artist in a way, but like, he was just like, if they want to hear, if they call out for that song, play them that song, you know, like you don't belong to you. And I thought there was something really kind of kingdom in that, of like, I'm here so that you have like the best night of your life. Do you know what I mean?
And it's just reminding something that Paul said to me really early on when I started gigging. He just said, they don't owe you anything. The audience don't owe you anything. Like, at all.
No.
Like, you know, and if they don't listen to you, that's not their fault. Like, it's like they don't. He's been a harsh taskmaster, but it was something about like, you know, you don't expect them to listen because they don't owe you anything. So if you can get them to listen, then that's cool. But it's not like he was trying to diss me or trying to kind of beat me down. But it did make me think, you know, you got to respect the audience, because I've done so many kind of opening mic style gigs, and they're not listening, and they're talking in front of me. And I mean, I've done gigs where I've had oh my gosh, I was in this like little bit at Spring Harvest once in a cafe, and then this man came along in his mobility scooter, and he went in front of the stage like this, and then he started reversing, and it's a really intimate gig, like quiet, apart from like it wasn't a bookshop, but like the bit, you know, you got about 30 people that are listening, and then he's going beep 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 and then going back again, and then beep beep beep, doing a 3-point turn right in between the monitors. And I'm singing like Won't Make It, which is like a really gentle, you won't make it, I know. I'm just watching this dude like, but I just thought, good on him, you know. It's and I was just chuckling, but it was funny. But
all those things are actually really good for you, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
They're like, you know, you sort of knock the prima donna out of you, you know. It's like, and church is the best thing for that. It's like, you know, can you not play some better songs? Or, you know, what was that? Can you not do ones that we like, you know?
Do what we know.
It's just like the chances of you developing an ego are pretty slim.
Yeah, I think so.
Really good. Yeah, we're now going to cut that song because we're going to have, you know, we just feel that we need to do this instead, you know.
Yeah, the one that I practiced for 5 hours. Okay. Oh, we don't need one at the end. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best one.
I can remember.
I love it.
I got booked for this thing, like a vineyard conference, and I'd been the guy who was like, you know, I would be the one leading like the worship at these vineyard things.
Yeah.
At one point, you know, in my life, I was, you know, hot stuff.
You are hot stuff.
In that movement, though, you know, it was like,
yeah.
I was, and it was like, I was really sort of taking it for granted, you know, like it was going to be forever kind of thing. And then sort of after marriage and various things, wasn't in the vineyard movement anymore. And I got a call like, oh, come up and, you know, we want you to come up and do some stuff at the conference. And I was like, you know, great, here we go. This is, you know, they want me again. You know? They have summoned me at last. Remember, I am not forgotten, but they have remembered my greatness. And I got there. I drove all the way up in my little car with the little white Metro I had. Like, driving up there.
I do.
And it's like first year of marriage or something like that. And I get there, and there's sort of the end of the worship's going on, and it's like thousands of people there, and I'm like, whoa, this movement's really grown, you know. It's like for when I was in it. And then basically I was like sitting in the corner of this sort of cafe at Trent Vineyard. It's like, right, we're now, you know, Mark's gonna
in the bar.
And it was a bar, and everybody was just talking really loud and drinking beer and stuff, and I was sort of sitting there going, nobody's listening to me. Like, why am I here? You know, it was so horrible.
That gig. I did it.
You did it as well, yeah.
I did it as well. I went with Steve Harding. Me and Steve did it, and I just. Thing is for me, because at that stage I was like, oh great, this is going to be really easy because nobody's listening, so I can screw up as much as I want. Nobody can even hear. But poor Steve, I mean, he was a bit cross. Not cross, Steve doesn't get cross, but I think he was a bit miffed because he was like, you know, you put that effort in. We got corner of the bar, but that's the sort of gig that I'm used to. Sort of after hours gig.
Well, it's like, what do you do in that moment? Do you try and grab the attention of a load of people who are quite happy doing what they're doing and in their own vibe? You know,
I think in those sort of gigs, there are always people that are listening. So, and it's just looking around the room and finding those friends, and they might be on a couple of tables like to the right, and then a few back. And they're like, you've just got to keep your cool. I mean, that's what I do in those. And I'll literally just eye contact the people that I know are enjoying the gig, which could be like 15% of the room. And then in the end, they start getting annoyed with the people around them, and they'll be like, so you kind of grow your crowd by the goodwill of the people that like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I think in that sort of context, it's a bit foolish to put on music of, you know, it's just no point. What's the point? You might as well just put a CD on or put a video up. I'm so old school.
Put the football on.
Yeah.
Hey, we're coming into land. We're coming in.
Oh my word.
Into
Has anybody been online?
Yeah, there's a few people watching. In fact, we must give a shout out to Laura Bill, who she says that you're her hero. Oh, totes in a stalker way. So yeah, watch out for her.
You're my hero.
And she wanted me to ask you a question, which we don't usually do, but we'll make a special exception for Laura. So you have to be quick with this, but
hope it's not scary.
Can we ask you about a song that you wrote for your granddad?
Yeah.
You played in Baker Street in a bar that sold pizza at her gig. So
that was the Kashmir Club.
Kashmir Club. I played that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does she want to know? Hey, what?
What? No.
What did you say?
Tell us about that song.
Oh, tell us about the song.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you said. So that's called Soldier, and that was on the Blueberry EP. And it was about my granddad. And I just wrote, he died suddenly when I was age 16. And it's a bit of a shocker. He got diagnosed with leukemia, I think, and was gone in like 2-3 weeks, like from knowing that he was diagnosed to just going. And there were some days there that I would visit him in his bungalow with Gran. And just to see the deterioration was so sad and so upsetting. So Soldier's about like, you know, I see a brave young soldier marching out to fight, because he always used to be so proud of his medals. And he was in a few little books, historic books. And then the other line is, and now I see the same old soldier fighting for his life. And so it's just that comparison of my soldier, my granddad. So there you go.
That's beautiful and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And a bit of a downer, if I may say so.
She's going already. I managed to sing it on one of the lives the other night. I don't know how I did it. I was crying all day.
Yeah.
Practicing. I've got to get through it.
Isn't that weird, with grief, but that's also the beauty of it, isn't it? Is that other people, everybody, you know, it's that's what songs do, isn't it? They take us, connect us to one another, I think.
Yeah, and it's cathartic, isn't it?
Yeah, a good old cry.
Yeah,
definitely.
Good old script.
So one last thing. I always finish with this usually as well. What would be your advice for up and coming singers, songwriters? Maybe not just women, but because you're a woman and there's a lot less women doing music stuff, definitely at the level that you do it. And what would be your advice to up and coming people with dreams in music and songwriting stuff?
Well, I think keep your eyes open for the opportunities and grab them when they come along, however big or however small or however inconvenient. you know, just grab it because you don't know where it's going to lead. Be nice to people. Like, don't be a prat. Well, you can have fun, but always be kind, and think about relationships, because music and just where you're going to be, I think from my perspective, is about relationships as much as anything. If you're going to be working with people and all that stuff, you know, working with them for years, hopefully, if it goes good, and trying to just make as much time as you can before, especially if you're a woman and if you're going to have kids, do as much as you can before you have kids, because it's a whole new ball game when you're a mummy. So I had a 10-year bash at my career before we even considered having a child.
Yeah.
Because I think with many careers as a woman, you can go back to it, but with this sort of career, it's not an easy one to kind of maintain unless you're a really big, high up level artist. So if you're like a sort of middling to low like myself, I'm not even middling anymore. I was at one stage. You know, it's just it's hard, and I know it's not an excuse, but I think you need, with writing, just keep the headspace. And I would be talking to myself here, making commitment to write more regularly, and just don't drop it. Don't drop the ball.
Yeah.
Because I do regret dropping the ball a bit with the kids and stuff, but equally, my life is as such that my parents live in Cornwall, Paul's parents live in Ipswich, we live in Sussex. There's not a lot of, if you're going to go for the live, and if you're going to go, I've done worship leading as well, there's only so many hours in your day. So it's just keep it as a top priority if it's something that you feel strongly about, I think.
Yeah.
And also just don't get too serious about yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously and cry too much when you go wrong. It's just laugh it off. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to die if you play C minor instead of C major.
No.
Unless you're in the Goonies or something.
Unless there's someone with a gun at your head going, play C major.
Well, yeah, I often think that. I'm like, what if I play C major?
I'm pretty sure it's got a black note in it.
Ah! And then, you know, drums explode in the corner. Like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like boring advice, really, but
that's really good advice, and that you are a very kind person. I can remember many instances when you've been very, very kind to me. So thank you for that.
Well, you know, people are kind to us, so
yeah,
it's good.
Cathy, you're a legend, and what are you? Keep doing it. Keep writing those songs, because they're really special, and they are the songs that you know, you might not have the hit outside of the trance world, but you know, you have the hit in the trance world now. So
yeah, oh, that's true. I didn't. Yes,
you wrote a hit.
Although I'm only singing one word in it.
Don't care. Shh, don't tell that.
Can I just say I've got a gig on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Online. If anybody's watching this or watches it later.
What time is that, and where will it be shown?
It's 8:30 on Facebook. Facebook Live.
Cool.
Yeah, on the Cathy Burton music.
Do you have like a link to the event or something? I'll promote
yeah,
that.
Shall I send it over to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that would be cool. Because it's the musician support pledge. So Nikki nominated me. I've got to nominate somebody else now. So, but she gave me like half of her take-ins. It's very cool.
Who is this person?
Nikki Rogers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, the next person that I have to nominate, I give them half of my take-ins. It's lovely. Community, kindness, yay!
Wow, that's cool. Right,
anyway, you're going to wrap up.
Thank you so much. I'll end the broadcast, and then we can say goodbye in private.